We've got the wiring all stripped out of this Perses, and you can see here I've got the PCB boards off of all three of the motors here. And it was, when Nate sent this to me, he said that the pusher motor wasn't working. So I'm going to go through, and I've got a Lipo here. I've got my test rig onto my switch, my alligator clips. I'm going to use those to test, just to verify, to see that the motors are working. Yeah, these wires normally are undersized, but for a quick test, they aren't going to matter. So we're going to hook this up, positive and negative. I'm not sure which way that goes, but it doesn't really matter from a testing perspective. And hold that like that. Now we'll check the switch. Yeah, okay. So the mechanism, the belt mechanism, and the motors for these are the pusher conveyor belt are good. We'll just test out each of these flywheels as well, just to make sure. That one's good. Keep bumping the camera here. Check the other one. It is good as well. So we've got three good motors here. So the issue must have been with the wiring that we're moving ahead to replace. So next step here then is going to be to install a new switch here, and then wire up the Perses with new wiring to run this all off of the 3S Lipo. All right, the wiring has been done. You can see I saved this switch, even though it was a little mangled, but it was in there. Decided to clean it up and attach the wiring there. I've got the 15, is this 15 or 21? 15 amp micro switch in there for the rev trigger. And I've got it wired up to, and you can see I've got it wired up to the conveyor belt motor, flywheel motors, over to an XT60. Now, one thing I do for most of my wiring jobs, anytime it's a full auto, is I will take and piggyback the firing trigger off of the rev trigger, so that your rev trigger acts like a master kill switch. Therefore, you can't throw rounds into the flywheels without actually having the flywheels turning. So it's kind of a safety feature. I like the way that comes together. You have to rev it, and then you can fire the other trigger. So I've got a Lipo plugged in here, charged up, and then we can go through it. You can see what kind of performance, what we're going to be looking at. This is at 3S, so we'll first of all rev the motors. And you can see we've got them turning the proper way. Going to fire it out. And then we'll also hold that down. You can see that does nothing until the rev trigger engages. So again, you can kind of see what performance we're going to get. So I'm going to put this blaster back together, and then we'll take it outside and we'll shoot it. Well, it's been a good year or so since I've actually modded a Hasbro blaster. And I made a couple rookie mistakes. Kind of embarrassed to kind of talk about it. The first one is just, I can't believe that I did it, but I lost a piece. One of the sides of this access panel up here, this door, the orange piece that goes over here and slides open so you can get access to it, I lost it. I couldn't find it anywhere. So I went through and put the blaster back together, and I had no jam door. I had no access panel. I had half of it. I had all the other inside pieces, but the top piece was gone. So whenever you take a blaster apart, make sure you keep track of all the pieces and where they go, because I just did a really dumb thing when I did this. So now my Perses has no access door. You can get down into the flywheels directly, and is what it is. The other mistake is a little more subtle, but when I did the trigger, the main trigger switch that I put in there, I left the whole roller ball up in there, and when I started putting it back together, I didn't realize that the roller ball actually got into the way of the mechanism of this lock switch. Now, the lock switch, I don't know if anybody really cares about the lock switch, but I was trying to keep it as close to stock as possible with the upgrade. And now the switch just kind of flops there. Doesn't impact the function of it anyways, because of the way I wired the whole thing up. But I should have looked at the mechanisms in there. It's another kind of a rookie mistake. But the blaster itself is great. Take it, fire this thing off, and you can kind of see what this does on a 3S. Anyways, performance on 3S of this thing is just awesome. So this is the look inside and rewiring Perses. Thanks for watching.